Buckle up, because what we witnessed in From Season 4, Episode 4, is not just horror. This is a full-blown nightmare coming to life. We finally know the secret that broke Victor completely. Victor did not just see the man in yellow. He watched him eat his mother, Miranda, right next to the bottle tree. Today on DramaCrypt, we are breaking down how Julie became a storywalker crossing through time, what the golem that Fatima is building from mud actually means, and most importantly, what is the terrifying entity that crawled out of the Lake of Tears in the final seconds of this episode. Of Myths and Monsters flipped everything upside down. The game is no longer about survival. It is now about the line between truth and illusion, and that line is disappearing fast. The episode opens with a shockwave hitting everyone inside the sheriff's office. Henry cannot process the fact that the paintings locked in his basement for decades have turned out to be a living nightmare walking among them. But Victor holds the key. Victor finally reveals to Henry that he once believed the man in yellow was a friend, a normal resident of the town. He even trusted him. Then, at the end of that cycle, Victor found the man in yellow feeding on Miranda by the bottle tree. That single memory is the reason a grown man who has survived this place for decades still cannot look at a yellow suit without falling apart. Now here is where the theory gets dangerous. Julie saw the man in yellow eating someone in the middle of town. Victor saw him attack Miranda at the bottle tree. These are two different locations. So what does that tell us? Either the man in yellow operates with no fixed pattern and no fixed location, he feeds wherever and whenever he wants, or Julie walked into a completely different cycles massacre, one that Victor never witnessed. Either way, we are not dealing with a simple monster here. We are dealing with an entity that feeds on the residents of this town, both physically and psychologically. And he has been doing it for centuries. While everyone is distracted by the yellow suit, a silent and far more calculated threat is growing inside Sarah's home. Sophia is not just a strange houseguest. She is running a psychological operation. She exploited Sarah's guilt, her grief, and her desperate need to feel worthy of kindness. Then she started muttering what can only be described as a spell. And just like that, the voices Sarah thought she had silenced came roaring back. But this time, the voices were not asking Sarah to kill. They were asking for blind obedience to a meaningless task. Pour the water, drink from the glass, pour it back. That is all. And that is exactly the point. The man in yellow is testing Sarah. He wants to know whether she is still a usable vessel, whether fear can still move her like a puppet. And when Sophia tells the story of Abraham and the binding of Isaac to Christy and Mari, the message becomes crystal clear. This entity sees himself as a god. He does not want results. He wants submission. He wants his subjects to kneel before he even raises his hand. Sophia breaking her arm by the pool, almost certainly staged, because the man in yellow is not bound by human limitations, was just theater designed to give Sarah the window to complete her task. The performance worked, Sarah obeyed, and the man in yellow now knows his instrument is still in tune. On the other side of town, Julie and Randall are attempting something that sounds impossible, even by the standards of a town where nothing is possible. Julie finds a concept in Ethan's books, a storywalker named Fred, who uses bookmarks to choose which stories he revisits. Julie's plan is to fold a piece of paper, mark it with an X, carry it into a storywalk, and leave it behind, creating a tethered anchor between the past and the present. She lands inside the dying moments of the cycle where Miranda and Eloise were lost. And just as she is about to drop the bookmark, the man in yellow sees her, and he charges. Randall pulls her out. The paper comes back blank. The bookmark did not transfer. The plan failed. But here is the detail that changes everything. In episode 1 of this season, the man in yellow spoke to Julie with familiarity, like he had known her across many lifetimes. But in this storywalk, he does not recognize her at all. He treats her like just another survivor from that cycle. That means Julie did not walk into any random moment. She walked into the first time they ever crossed paths. She is watching the origin of a relationship that will be built and rebuilt across dozens of cycles. A predator slowly learning the shape of his prey across centuries. The bookmark failed, but the theory is not wrong. The rules Julie is learning from the books are incomplete. The past in From is not a memory. It is a sealed chamber, and whatever is written inside it cannot simply be rewritten by someone reaching in with a folded piece of paper. Julie also gives us one of the most important ideas of the episode. This place is leaking. Fragments of the town are seeping out into the real world through dreams and visions. Miranda channeled it through paint. Ethan channels it through his connection to the Gulagog books. And the author of those books? He may have dreamed of someone exactly like Julie without ever knowing she was real. The town is not just a prison. It is broadcasting. Inside Colony House, Fatima is undergoing the most unexpected transformation of the season. Fatima, who can feel smiley inside her own body, who shares his emotions against her will, has filled her room with dirt and begun shaping it into something. A golem, a figure from Jewish folklore built to protect the innocent from destruction. But Fatima is not building a protector for others. She is building armor for herself. She tells Boyd that Smiley feeds on her fear. The creature feels what she feels. So when she is afraid, he is pleased. When she is strong, that connection weakens. Building the golem makes her feel strong, and feeling strong makes her less afraid, and being less afraid starves the thing that torments her. Boyd and Kenny eventually understand. They leave her to her work. Kenny even tells the other residents to give her space. But here is a detail worth sitting with. The golem in folklore is not only a symbol of protection. In many versions of the myth, the golem eventually turns on its creator. In one famous account, it grew uncontrollable and had to be destroyed. In another, it accidentally killed the rabbi who built it. Fatima is building something to protect herself from a monster. But what if what she builds becomes one? As Boyd is leaving Colony House, a ring rolls down the stairs in front of him. He picks it up. It is identical to the ring inside Abby's memento box, the one engraved with an infinity symbol on the inside. He takes it back to the station. He sets both rings on the table side by side. The ring from the stairs disappears. Two explanations, and neither one is comforting. The first, Boyd's Parkinson's disease is progressing, and what he is seeing is not real. His mind is beginning to fracture under the weight of everything this place has put him through. The second, the town is bleeding. Objects from parallel timelines are slipping through the cracks and then snapping back when the timelines correct themselves. The ring was real, just not from this version of events. The infinity symbol is not decoration. It is a warning. This is a loop. It has always been a loop. And someone somewhere across those loops is trying to hand Boyd a clue he has not yet learned how to read. Boyd also admits, quietly, privately for the first time, that they are losing. That single line, delivered by Harold Perrineau, with his hand pressed to his chest, is one of the most honest and devastating moments this season has produced. And we end on the moment that nobody was ready for. Tabitha decides to support Ethan's search for the Lake of Tears, partly out of guilt, partly because she can no longer justify dismissing her son's visions, when her own entire history in this town has been built on visions she once dismissed. Ethan brings an injured bird, believing the lake's water can heal it. They find the lake. They scoop the water and pour it over the bird. At the same moment, one of Donna's crew finds a massive rope buried in the ground nearby. He pulls it. The lake begins to churn. Something breaks the surface. The episode ends. So what came out of that water? Theory 1. These are the bodies of residents from previous cycles. People who believed the lake was a passage to the real world, tied themselves to a rope, dove in, and never came back. The town was cleaned between cycles, and the evidence was sunk here. Theory 2. The lake is a trap, deliberately designed by whatever built this place. It offers the illusion of healing and salvation, while concealing something far worse beneath its surface. The rope was not left by survivors. It was left as bait. Theory 3. Something living has been down there, dormant, waiting, and Donna's crew has just woken it up. Whatever it is, the water that Tabitha poured over that bird may not have healed it. In From, the things that look like salvation have a habit of being the most dangerous things of all. Here is the connection that ties this entire episode together. Julie's story walked into a past where the man in yellow did not recognize her. In episode 1, he spoke to her like an old acquaintance. That means Julie has been crossing paths with him across multiple cycles, and with each cycle, he learns more about her. He is a student of his prey, and this town is his classroom. It leaks into the real world through dreams and art and children's books, because it is not just a physical location. It is something that thinks, something that spreads, and the man in yellow may not just be its monster. He may be its author. Now the question is yours. What do you think came out of that lake in the final seconds? Are those the bodies of people who came before, victims of cycles the current residents know nothing about? Or is something alive down there, and has Donna's crew just made the worst mistake of the season? Drop your theories in the comments. The strongest theory gets pinned and discussed in the next video. If this breakdown gave you something to think about, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you are the first to decode what comes next in From with DramaCrypt. We will see you when the next episode drops.